We good?
It seems as though we're live.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, let me get music going. When we last left off, the party has fallen in with the Ergos Rebellion. The Saurians, Lovelanders, and even the occasional male Dark Elves banding together under Lady Aurora Blackmont to depose the Argosian president who has been oppressing their religion, their culture, and their way of life. While initially hesitant, after hearing Lady Aurora's plan, where the party will supposedly find a way into the palace, facing only the minimal resistance, uh, would be able to corner the Argosian president and, at Zephyr's suggestion, at worst, do her harm without taking her life and coerce her into a surrender, where she will be allowed to keep the land that was not the Saurians originally, as long as she returns the Baradel, with a few extra little allotments to persuade her to take that deal if she begins to falter on that. With the party more or less on the same page, the plan is laid out before them. Supposedly, according to the word of a Saurian priest who originally betrayed his kin, but on feeling some guilt, returned the favor and defected back to the rebellion. There are 4 temples, each of which will contain a key to the next. And on entering the final one, a tunnel network that the Saurians established should lead right into the Argosian Palace, the great cathedral from which the priestess rules. With that said, as the meeting of the rebellion comes to a close, Aurora Blackmont returns to her private room, and the rebels excitedly chatter around you, and you all seem like you've more or less come to a conclusion. Lucian, uh, all of you had been informed by Miss Alefikir that she had something she wanted to discuss with everyone up in her room, in private, away from the rest of the rebels. Uh, is there anything you guys would like to do while you're down in the tavern, or are you going to all head up to Lucian's room and see what the elf has to say?
I would like to take a drink to go.
Oh, you don't have to ask Gil twice.
All right. Neon, you grab one final light, still relatively unsatisfying beer. Gil, you start to promptly head up. Caro and the Tibadrons?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, Caleb doesn't have anything else to do right now.
Yeah, it's better to be informed than to, have her do something stupid without me knowing.
Without me being there to laugh at it.
All right. And Caro, are you going to follow suit?
Yes.
All right. Seeing everyone starting to head up, Raccoon grabs one last lemonade and begins to follow up the stairs as well. And one by one, you all begin to file into Lucian's room before Raccoon, whether understanding that the circumstances will be similar to last time or simply out of courtesy and coincidence, shuts the door behind you all. You can still hear the rebels chattering cheerfully in the tavern below, and you can still hear the hurricane raging outside. So with that, Lucian, the party has gathered and appear to be waiting with various levels of eagerness to hear what you have to say.
Right. So when you guys open the door, you guys come in, you can just like see her various like alchemy and chemistry books just strewn everywhere, like notes everywhere. It looks like like one of those like theorist walls. It's crazy. So when everybody comes in, she just kind of stands there awkwardly. Well, this is a little hard to explain. I've been doing a lot of reading, as you can see. And I found some pretty interesting things that I thought that everybody should know about. It's well, it's kind of like about us and about the Iggerbees. It's kind of like a ongoing theory for like the last like few weeks. It's been a lot of research. So the one thing that I can see that is pointing to, which again I find very interesting. Has anybody here heard of a homunculus?
Sounds
Have
familiar.
I?
Should I roll for it, or should I not even bother?
Actually, Neon, you go ahead and roll me. I'm gonna call this a nature check. Caleb, you also make me a nature check, but roll yours with advantage. Your sister, after all, is a chemist. While they're not an alchemist, they do have an understanding of alchemy. So, and given that you spent a lot of time with her growing up, you are decently likely to have a basic understanding of the principle.
Let me get up my stats.
And
real quick,
what about
sorry.
Gil?
So I'm rolling nature or history?
Nature with advantage, and Neon and Gil just flat nature.
20, baby.
Natural or dirty?
Natural, baby.
Hell yeah, nice.
All right, I got a 21.
All right.
Well, geez. Fucking...
To be fair, again, sister is an alchemist.
No, I know, I'm kidding.
No, the first roll
Gil
was
has no
a
idea.
7.
I got a 6.
Ouch.
Gil, you rack your brain, but most of Gyogur's research into chemistry, even if you were aware of it, most of it that you know of is, gunpowder and metalsmithing. They typically don't dabble in chemistry. Chemical warfare has never been the Gyogrin's strong suit. However, Neon, you are at least vaguely aware of it. It is something that, while the troops of Tredu are vaguely aware of, and you've heard chatter about it among some of the more illicit organizations you've had a history with. You've never seen one done in person, but you have also heard tales of it from your original homeland.
Yep.
And Caleb, you've heard a lot about it from your sister. What the two of you know from your various sources is a homunculus is considered the bona fide ace of accomplishment for an alchemist. See, the difference between a chemist and an alchemist is that a chemist is simply seeking to turn, produce particular results from mixing chemicals. Alchemists are not limited to basic chemicals and bases. Alchemists use magic in their mixtures, which is the core difference between the two. As Caleb, your sister, told you many a time when she would overhear people referring to her as the castle alchemist. One of the main differences that this results in is an alchemist's greatest achievement, rarely accomplished but proudly bragged about when it is. Unlike a chemist, an alchemist is capable of creating life, and such life is referred to as a homunculus. Now, this can take many forms. Neon, you've heard of homunculi being almost humanoid, borderline indistinguishable from a regular person. But Caleb, your sister being very practical and down to earth, has often spoken of the more down to earth but no less amazing homunculi. Sentient, breathing creatures, usually very small, created from nothing more than a little bit of magic and the right mixing of chemicals. Either way, the result is the same. Life born of nothing. Created from simply mixing the right things in the right way in the right order. And life is born.
So, to answer the question, yes, I know all about him. Well, not all about him, but quite a bit.
I know about them
That-
as well.
That's good. That makes my job so much easier. If you guys understand what I am talking about, I don't have to stop and explain things. It's much quicker this way. So, here's my theory. You know how when we went down to the experiment lab down in Edict, that we found that there were different serum for different Ickerbees. It's like one of many pieces of the puzzle of the Ickerbees. The interesting thing is when a alchemist makes a homunculus, they can usually only make one. However, there has been a interesting information that I have found in this book over here, is it says that if somebody, the alchemist, decides that they want to make more than one homunculus, it has to be a different strain of, like, for example, the ichor blood. If we are using two different souls to make the homunculus, and they create it with the ichor stuff, whatever that black goo is. It's you know, I don't even know how to wrap my brain around this, to be honest with you guys, because when I was reading about these homunculus, it sounded like it was almost, like impossible. Like you have to be really, really good. And it's also kind of like taboo in the alchemical world to like make these things. So it kind of like makes sense to me in a way, because like Dr. Knight is an Oathbreaker anyway, so why would she even care? Like that she's like breaking the rules, she's kind of like, fuck you, this is my rules now. So in a way it makes sense. Are you following?
No.
Theory is that we are a strain. Like we aren't like homunculus per se, but we are a strain of homunculus, and possibly maybe like chimera is, because like with chimeras you have to like use two different souls and like push them together to make the chimera. But that doesn't make any sense because chimeras are usually like beasts. Which actually brings me to the point about Gil. And she like turns her attention to Gil. You know when we are fighting and you get like really, really into the battle and you kind of turn into one of those things?
Yes.
First of all, I don't think that you should do that anymore. Because if you give into it, it just kind of like makes it more like you want to do it all the time. So like the more you shift into an Icarbeast, the more you're going to want to turn into an Icarbeast. So maybe not do that anymore. So what I think is interesting that maybe with Gil, like maybe he has like a little bit of chimera in him because he can turn into one of them. Which brings me to the experiments down in Eden. I know like this is all crazy, like you have no idea, like there's like string everywhere, I don't know. So these experiments, as we know, are the different strains that they were trying out on, their experiments, like, like alpha and beta and, the rest of those guys. And we know about lambda is, we know about it, but we don't know about it. But like we know that it exists. And I think that the experiments were kind of like a segue from the chimera thingy to homunculus, which is why it got better. And also they use different strength. Why I say this is important for us is because I have found, well, it doesn't take like a specific type of like magic or force to like defeat them. Like they can be defeated pretty easily, as we could see, with our experiences, fighting these things.
So
But
easy.
this is where it gets really interesting. The way to permanently kill a homunculus, because like they can be killed permanently. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. These notes are crazy. Anyways, so like to literally kill it, you have to kill the caster. Which means if we take out Dr. Knight, perhaps all of these different homunculuses will simply perish. But if we also take out Dr. Knight,
That also means us.
taking those casters, we might also die.
Yeah. Most of that I got none of.
So there lies in the problem. If we take out the caster, we take out possibly ourselves. There is really no way to really
Barring Neon.
confirm this theory, except for there's no way to confirm this
Carol, maybe.
theory. However, I feel like Carol's kind of doing that like dissociation thing with her eyes.
Yeah, our eyes are fucking
if
fading out.
if I don't remember what I was going to say, but what's important is if we take out Dr. Knight, we might also die. But the only way to experiment this is with another Icar beast. If I can figure out, like...
What?
Like, figuring out how to kill it without killing ourselves, that might also help. Because I don't know about you guys, I don't want to die.
Me again.
So what you're getting at?
I could also, how you guys... Go ahead.
Simply what you're getting at from all this rambling and nonsense, in my opinion, is that if we kill Dr. Knight, there's a possibility through some, I don't know what means, that we may die. All the other science gizmo, frankly,
Magic.
not important. Simply, what you're getting at is don't kill Dr. Knight, at least until we figure out another way.
Either we find out another way, or we confirm the hypothesis to be correct. Because that's all it is right now, is a hypothesis.
Yeah.
I cannot speak
This
with
all
my
sounds
life
like a problem.
hypothesis. Jesus.
This all sounds like a problem that is not the current problem.
Well,
No. But
it is not the current problem.
what if Ergos? Well, what if Ergos, because she is in the Skarkon court, what if Ergos has a couple Icarus, defending her?
They seem to have very little
We
control
could
of the
possibly... Well, the ones that they couldn't control, Amanda cannot remember the words. The ones that we, went crazy, like, the one with the cards, the other ones. And then there was, Theta, who was, like, really smart and was on our side for, as long as he was with us. So their intelligence may be linked to, like I said, the strengths that were used on them, and the intelligence of the creature, and the intelligence of, like, I don't know, I feel like I sound crazy right now. But I think that we should go for Dr. Knight because until we get to her and until I can talk to her or figure out what this whole bullshit is. Okay, I know it sounds crazy as ever, but like, women like Dr. Knight
Mhm.
and women like me and most women are underestimated. So a
How
lot
did
of
we
them
get to
like
this
to.
What?
How did
No,
I
no,
don't.
no.
how
I'm leading up to something. I'm leading up to something. Just give me a minute.
Well, why don't you just get to the point?
They like to talk, especially about their
Well,
successes.
yeah, we figured that much out.
No, listen. A lot of them like to talk about their successes.
Yes, I get what you're
Making
saying.
a homunculus is very successful. So if I could just
Yes.
talk to her about it, I could gather more information. However, that could be detrimental to myself and possibly everybody else. Getting close enough to talk to her.
What I'm getting at is that for now, we can leave Dr. Knight away until we feel is right.
I will continue my research, of course. But in the meantime, let's talk about what we are supposed to be doing. I guess, do we start tomorrow? Do you guys want to start this adventure tomorrow?
Once the storm has subsided, yes. We've waited
I
long
mean,
enough.
it's a magical storm, so I don't imagine it taking, too much longer. It depends on, how strong the storm is. Never mind. You don't want to hear me ramble anymore, I'm sure.
Yes, you're not wrong.
The point is, we need to figure out when we're going. We also need to, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of tired of walking, so maybe we could get Beast of Burden and a cart. I know we have to go up mountains and shit like that. We can figure that out. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but I feel like it would be much better for us to have a cart and Beast of Burden.
were these places we had to
Any
go
suggestions?
really far
I feel
apart?
And how
Matthew?
would you?
yeah.
How would we cross the rivers or something with this cart?
I can ship water, or I could do water walking. I don't know if it works on the cart,
Yeah,
but I don't know. We
on
could
an
try.
object.
Matthew, does water walking work
But
on
it
a
would
cart?
work on the horses.
Yes, but then the cart.
We could always, just buy ourselves horses. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out another way besides walking.
And as far as I'm aware, no, water walk does not work on objects besides those carried on your person. Uh, um, and I will say, yeah, since Caleb, you just looked at the map like less than an hour ago, and between that and Lucian's key mind, I'll say that you guys would know that the trip to the first temple, and the only one that's location is known for relative certain, although the other ones have been narrowed down pretty well. In the Nightmare Mountains, the trip will take you, assuming you take the most efficient route, it would take you a grand total of about a little over a week to reach the first temple on foot. Although I will say that you would estimate that if you could find a way to cross Scalder's Lake, that would shave several days off of your trip, but that's assuming A, you can find a way to do so, and B, that you can find a way to do so safely.
I'm assuming it is very hot
Um,
because it's called Scalder.
well, that you wouldn't know. Although, yeah, the name does not sound comforting. Although you've been at least close to the lake, and it hasn't gotten more unnaturally hot than the natural tropical air down here. So you're not sure, but yeah, quite possibly. But yeah, although I will say, given some of the terrain you're crossing through, you estimate Caro might be able to shave a couple days off of your trip, but again, not exactly certain. But yeah. Anything left? Well, oh,
If you guys think it would be better to go without the horses, I really think that we should, plan out what we're doing, instead of, going like we're crazy or something.
Neon pulls up their wrist gauntlet and kind of just taps at it in a few places. And we're in a room with a window.
yes.
Cool. You see Morrigan's head poke up and look through the window. Oh, look, a beast of burden with which to pull a cart. I find it right there. And then takes and then takes a really smug sip of their glass.
Well, that is an
Look at this,
option.
the group putting their talents
His
together.
face just turns like 3 shades of red.
But
I imagine
Right,
Matthew
of
was
course.
sitting
I
there
mean,
thinking
how
about
silly
that
of
the
me
whole
to think
time.
of a horse.
well, that still doesn't kind of explain the whole river problem. We have to cross any rivers.
Well,
Well,
Morgan was able to
technically,
cross
I
the
guess
river.
Morgan would
Well,
be a
Morgan
humanoid.
is.
It's, yeah.
Morgan can, but does the cart? I know it can be pushed by him, but how's the cart gonna fare with rapids just being pushed on?
Zephyr, I'd like to show you a magic trick. And Neon puts the handle of their what's it called, of their mug, like puts their lower jaw through that and then lifts it up off the table.
Just carry it.
So your thing can carry the cart by hand?
I'd imagine so. Depends on how heavy you want to pack it down.
Yeah, I don't plan on
I
packing
mean,
heavy.
we're going to have to. I mean, we have to, get rations, or I could make the food, if you like the food back in the desert. Um, uh, or, we need food for us. I guess because we're not getting a horse. I did factor in the horses, but we're not going to need horses. How silly of me. Food for us. What else do we need?
That sounds about it.
Am I forgetting anything?
No.
Okay, so I guess we will. Who wants to pick out the cart? Then who wants to get the food?
Food you can just carry.
I mean, I guess we could do it together, but it just seems like it would be easier for one person to get one thing and the other person to get the other, and then we all meet here.
Either way. So is that all we need to talk about? Something about yada yada science?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Science is important, Zephyr. But yes, that was all.
Okay. And you get proceeds to walk out.
Zephyr walks away. All right. Is everyone going to go back to their rooms at this point?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. With that, you all part ways. Head back to your regular rooms and begin to settle down for the night as best you can between the raucous cheering and storm passing over Hjarman at the time. And A
Oh,
few of you. What's
no,
up?
Gil passes out easily.
Fair. A few of you.
Gil says he passed out easily.
No, yeah, I
Yeah.
heard. A few of you offhandedly contemplate what Lucian talked about, unsure what to make of all the talk of alchemy and homunculi, and
Yeah.
whether or not your life indeed does revolve around the continued survival of one of your enemies. A few of you ignore that completely and instead focus on the logistical and practical situation right in front of you of making a trip that's well over a week on foot to find a temple that may not even be there or maybe a trap. And that's assuming that the tunnel network that was posited exists in the first place. A lot of variables and unknowns are in the air being juggled right now, with your group smack dab in the middle of all of it. And for others, with no more simple thought than my pelvis hurts, some of you just pass out immediately. With that, as Lucian predicted, the storm, likely due to its magical origin, or perhaps simply being so far inland with so little humidity to keep it rolling, the storm begins to dissipate late into the night. And whether intentionally or not, the meeting gets a lot quieter as people head up to their rooms or back to their homes once the streets are no longer flooded. As the water in the streets disperses and everyone slowly goes to sleep, you all, of course, get a long rest. And is there anything you all would like to do the next morning? You can go downstairs and grab breakfast, given that this place is with the rebellion and knows you guys are helping them. Your room and board is still free, so getting breakfast will not be a problem. But is there anything you guys would like to do here in Yarman once you wake up the next morning?
Well, Gil really liked the idea of a horse.
So you want to buy a horse anyway?
He wants to go see about buying a horse.
Of course, Gil would do that after we already established you already had a way of pulling a cart.
Carol will go and get food for all of her
Well, pork
children.
cart.
For all of her children.
Aww. Frog
Alright.
mom.
How
It will
much
go
days
down
worth of food are you getting? You have 3 creatures that need to eat. How many days worth of food are you getting for all of them?
I don't know how long we're gonna be gone, so this will be quite a problem. I'll be on the safe side, and just in case we're gone for quite a while, I'll get like at least 10 days of food. I have a lot of money, so it's okay.
Alright. For 3 beasts, 10 days worth of food for 3.
So 30 days worth of food for them.
Okay. And that will run you. Just doing some quick math in my head. Sorry. Sorry, I have the math in my head and it's just adamantly refusing to complete. There we go. That'll run you about 8 gold.
That's not bad at all. Slam that ankle down on
Yeah.
the...
All right. So, Kero, you after breakfast, you head into town to start picking up rations for your beasts, and Gil, you start making your way towards the stable. Do the rest of you have anything you'd like to do, or are you just going to wait at the sunken scale for the group to
Still going
reconvene?
to get some rations.
And one more thing.
Caleb's heading with Kero to get rations. What are you doing, Lucian?
Okay, so I'm probably gonna wait until everybody's done with their like duties, and then I'll probably like while everybody's at dinner, kind of expose my other idea that I've kind of been holding on to.
All right. We'll reconvene once the group meets back up then. Zephyr, Neon, anything for the two of you?
That's a good question. Let me do some. I'll get back to you on that.
All right, Zephyr.
Probably gonna be problematic, but I guess I'll join my brother to get some rations.
All right. How many days of rations would the two of you like to get as Caro is getting sacks of food for their various beasts?
Hmm.
All right, I'll circle back on the two of you. Just put some thought into it. Gil, as you make your way out to the stables, the field of grass between the Hjarman and the stable is puddled and mucky, and you're almost more trudging through it with wet squelches beneath your feet than anything else. But as you approach the stables, you see the usual array of dragons, some clambering on the roof with chains tied to their legs. Others you can hear the roars of inside, and you recognize a few of the rebels running the stable. Um, uh, a particularly large Saurian, the same one that had been running the place when Neon went there, looks down to you, Gil, and gives a small nod. You don't recall if you saw him there, but you do recognize the dark elf at his side as one of the young boys that Caleb and Lucian had been talking to. And something I can help you with.
Yes. Do you have any horses?
We don't deal in horses in these parts. We got dragons.
I'll buy a dragon.
Yeah, what about a cart?
Buy a dragon!
A card I can do you fine. Covered or uncovered.
And what kind of dragons?
He gestures to the young dark elf man, who looks around excitedly and just like, all right, right. Let me show you what I got while the big guy gets the cart ready. Come on, come on, come on. All right, so you're looking for something that can fly, something that can take.
Uncovered cart.
Got it.
Why?
All right, you're looking for something that can fly, you're looking for something that can swim, you're looking for something that can carry you around the desert. Where are you planning to go? What you planning to do? What can I do for you?
Well, I need something I can ride for one.
One rider? More than one?
At least one.
All right, and you wanting it to pull that cart, or this just for your own personal business?
Personal business.
Right. So, personal dragon, want something you can ride, no preference on terrain. Let me see what I can do you for. All right. Here. And he gestures for you to follow. You find yourself walking through many stables, each of which contain creatures unlike any you've ever seen, and it's a little unsettling. You're a little unsure what to make of some of these beasts you're looking at. But as he pulls you along, he eventually pulls you in front of a small, squat little dragon. It's big, but its size is not in its height. You look down at a small dragon, this almost like turtle-shaped one, a massive plate-covered back that looks like heavily armored. You're almost certain that if you were to pull one of your pistols and fire on it, it may not penetrate. And at the end of a long, lightly swinging tail, you can see what almost looks like the end of a bone club. That you're confident if this creature wanted to get out of this cage, it probably could, with pretty little issue. And looking to you with a smile, the dark elf gives a nod. This here fella doesn't need too much in the way of supplies to keep moving. He listens well, as long as you stay off his back end there. And he can carry you just as easily. Could easily carry two if you need.
Hmm. You mentioned something about others that can fly.
Right. Well, it's gonna take a bit of doing if you want those to carry you, but here, come on. Uh, and taking you along further, he takes you to a kind of open-topped area, and you can see this place leads up to the that open area where you saw those colorful crested dragons clamoring, uh, and he reaching into a nearby bucket, pulls free a fish and holds it up in the air. Down here, girls! And you see several of the dragons turn their heads down to look at him and start clawing their way down the rafters, the walls, and onto the floor. And he tosses it to one of them. Looking, Gil, you see dragons that are actually, they look very similar um, to the swamp dragon that you had seen at the border of Argos, the massive one that had been carrying an entire cargo ship's worth of people. These ones, however, are much smaller, roughly coming up to your chest, but their wings are pretty impressive. Their legs seem a little on the skinny side, but their torsos seem sturdy enough. Um, Most of them are simply flat-headed with long beaks, although you do see one a little larger than the others with a long bony crest that you had seen outside. Um, uh, um, and he gives you a smile and, right, since we have a common interest, I'm going to be straightforward with you, mate. Uh, they're not exactly made for carrying people. To get the swamp dragons to carry folks around in the air, they had to make a lot of special accommodations, get that whole basket rig set up. But if you're willing to work with them a little bit, these guys could probably carry one of yous. Although you're a bit of a big guy, might take some doing. But given time, I think they could manage it. They can fly long stretches of time. Need a steady diet of fish to keep them happy, but as long as you take care of them, they'll take care of you.
So what would it take in order to be able for it to carry me?
Well, more than likely, your best bet would probably be. It's a bit of a hassle, but I know some folks what they like to do is we sell more than just carts here. You see, we also have these little baskets, kind of like what the swamp dragons carry, but they're made for just one person, maybe two. And rather than having to carry you on their backs, because they gotta fly, they're pretty light. But their legs are decently strong and their wings are powerful. And if you buy one of our baskets, you can just sit in that, maybe with up to one other person, and the dragon can just pick up the basket and carry you wherever you want to go.
And how much would it be for the dragon and the basket?
For the dragon and the basket,
Plus the cart.
and the cot. Well, let's see. Cot's gonna run you that. And if you're gonna want that, and you just want the one, any preference, male or female? I know the males tend to be a little more popular these days, but I assure you the females are just as strong.
Which one do you think is better?
Well, I don't really have a preference. It's more just an aesthetic thing, really. See, big guy in the back there, and he points to the crested one. Now, he's not necessarily any stronger. He's a little on the bigger side, sure, but you know what I mean when I say size. Doesn't matter, right? The thing, but a lot of people seem to like the crest. In fact, I've seen a lot of people get pretty ticked with my friends and I whenever we sell them one of these dragons and then they don't have it, and they're like, "Oh, why doesn't my dragon have the crest? I wanted the crest." And it's like, the girls don't have one. Like, there's nothing we can do about that. Well, give me one that has it, you know. But there's no difference beyond that. It's something they use for mating displays, that sort of thing.
Well, I'll take one of the females then.
All right. First, so for your cart, a basket for this dragon to carry you and the dragon itself, plus the supplies needed to hook it up properly. Altogether, that's probably going to run you about 180 gold.
So, oh,
He gives a broad smile. All right. If you don't have a preference on which of the girls you'll take, I'll pick one out that I think would be suited to where you're going.
Oh God.
All right. You just wait right outside. My friends and I will get you set up right quick.
well, it's good to me.
Gil's gonna come to the party with a dragon with him.
All right.
Fucking
And
dragon.
Gil? You have purchased a pteranodon. You may add that to your character sheet if you wish.
Ooh.
All right. In the meantime, Tabager boys, you both went with Caro to purchase some food while Caro's getting their pet supplies taken care of. How many days worth of food do the two of you want to get?
Caleb's gonna fill back up to the 14 days he had started with.
All right. So how many days are you purchasing, or did you run out and you need a complete refill?
Hang on, let me see. Inventory rations. I have a quantity of 12, and it says 1 day. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's gonna
so
go
you-
back up to 14, and then he's gonna get an extra week.
Okay. So basically
2 more, and
9
then-
days. 9 days worth. That'll be a gold and 8 silver.
All right.
And
Hang on.
that'll give you 9 extra days. And Zephyr, how much are you getting?
I'll get 12.
12. So 12 days worth of rations. That'll run you 2 gold, 4 silver.
Okay, hold on a second. So, gotta take another gold and then 5 silver back because it's 10 silver to a gold, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. With that, so Zephyr and Caleb, the two of you purchased some food. Neon, have you thought about what you want to do?
Yes.
All right. What would you like to do?
I
1, 2,
would like to go to. So, does it have just kind of like a general store where it's just like, oh, here, food and bits and bobs? Like,
Yeah.
right?
It's a little more niche than other places, but yeah, there is just a general like place that sells bits and bobs. What are you looking for?
I would like to get. Well, I would of course like to get 2 weeks of rations. That kind of goes without saying. But I would also like to get a few small things that I feel like could be useful to us.
We don't do encumberment, right?
Well, have you? Basically, we sort of do, but remember, you have a bag of holding, so it's going to take longer for you to reach that limit. So basically, if you have a bag of holding,
I put things in a bag of holding and D&D Beyond.
You can't,
can't,
unfortunately.
yeah.
So, but again, since you don't have that, like basically, I've been keeping track. You as long as you're keeping some stuff in the bag of holding, which you have been, you're fine. Don't worry
And I
about it.
put his rations in the bag of holding.
All right, yep, easy enough to do. But yeah,
Because
and
it says I'm over capacity.
Yeah.
So basically, don't worry about it, and I'll let you know if you're going over the limit, even with your bag of holding. I have a list of what you have in the bag, so
Yeah, like I'm over encumbered by
You can
20
hold like an
pounds.
infinite number of things, right?
No.
there is an upper limit, but it's like it's high. You'll have to do a lot of hoarding to hit it.
It's another fucking dimension.
Well, it's a
Well,
small
yeah, but
dimension.
it's not an infinite one. It's just a little pocket one, quite literally.
Yeah.
If it was infinite, you would never be able to find what you were looking for. You would just be sitting there shuffling around. All right, Neon.
It's magic.
Yeah, but it would also be overpowered.
Have to make sense.
Well, yeah, but it would also be overpowered if you could just literally sit there and like that bag of holding is already sort of overpowered, even with an upper limit of what it can hold.
Yeah.
And it's like universes are always expanding.
But it's not a universe, it's a pocket dimension.
It's a pocket universe.
Yeah, well, again, at the end of the day, that's how it works. So that's how it is. Neon, 2 weeks of rations, and what else?
Some ball bearings, a crowbar, and rope usually comes in like 50 feet in D&D, right?
I think that's what we
Matt?
start off with. Oh.
I feel like
R.I.P.
Matt might be dead.
For things.
Yeah, it comes
oh,
with 50.
There you go.
Oh, wait. But he's
Cut
Cut
cutting
out
out.
for that entire response, Matthew.
More-
You're cutting out again.
Is it on my end or you guys? Oh, oopsie poopsie.
It's
Yeah, I think it's
definitely
your
your
end.
end.
Oopsie poopsie. Hey, am I better now?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, you can hear you.
Okay. Yes. Rope usually comes in 50 feet, and I think that's really the bulk of what I was saying. So.
Okay.
I guess I'm gonna have to make
so-
sure I remove rations from my list of inventory bag of holding.
I would like 100 feet of rope. So 2 sets of 50.
Okay.
I guess you say we're getting roped into something.
Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Quality content.
And I think that's it. Oh. Rip.
What happened?
What?
Who disconnected?
No one.
It's me.
No,
Oh,
it was not.
Okay.
It wasn't.
To another chat.
All right. So, all right. So 14 days of rations. Just doing some quick mental math for you. So 14 days. Okay. Bag
Something
of ball
entirely a
bearings.
setup episode for something better.
Well, I mean, yeah, they've got to happen. Okay, so
And some chalk.
crowbar, chalk.
Matthew, you need a calculator.
Well, no, I'm doing all the math fine. It's more just making sure I cover everything.
Yeah, but calculator could do math even faster than the human mind can.
Yeah, but you won't
I mean, you're
train
not
your
wrong,
human
but it would
mind.
also take me a while to pull the calculator up. So,
Nah, it's fine.
and I'm guessing just hempen rope. Like you don't want it to be silk.
Yeah, hemp and rope.
Can you smoke that?
All right, so
No.
for 50 feet of hempen rope, 14 days of rations, a crowbar, a piece of chalk, and a bag of 1,000 ball bearings. That'll run you 6 gold.
6 gold. Jesus, that's highway robbery. I have 7 gold, so now I have 1.
But you have
so
supplies.
little gold.
Wait, did you get the gold we got from selling the diamond?
I don't believe I did.
Because Caleb,
I gave everybody
Caleb's 6 gold ain't shit.
their share.
All right. Is that the end of your shopping spree, Neon?
3,172 gold. 6 gold ain't shit.
All right. And all right, that's everyone except for Lucian covered. So, Zephyr, Caleb, Kiaro.
Caleb then wants to get supplies.
All right. What do you plan to buy?
Just rations for him and his new pet.
All right. How many days worth?
About 10 each.
Okay, 10 days each. All right, 2 gold.
Okay.
All right.
Leg.
Gil, you make a run back to Hjarman while they prepare your cart, basket, and dragon. Excitedly buy days of rations, not only for yourself, but for the new pet you are very excited for, and begin making your way back. And as you approach, sure enough, you see the large Saurian and the young dark elf with a relatively simple cart, not unlike the ones on the surface. The wood seems a little bit on the darker side, but that's about it. Also seems a little soaked by the previous rain, but it does still seem functional.
I like how Gil complains constantly about not having money, and then he goes and wastes 180 gold on a fucking dragon that he didn't need.
Well, I don't know how much of that is the cart. I don't know how much of that is the dragon, but probably most of it.
And along with those things, Gil, you see a woven basket akin to what you would see something like young children carrying things from the market in, but on a much larger scale. And indeed, you definitely could fit in there yourself, and it'd be a bit of a squeeze, but you think you could fit a second person. And perched atop it, looking around nervously as a chain is unhooked from their leg, you see one of those female dark black and red dragons. It turns to look at you with a long beak, and the dark elf kind of whispers up to her to soothe her as you approach, and just, all right, here you are. Don't worry, she's smarter than she looks. She should respond to you well enough, but they're social creatures, so don't try not to spook them. And I hate to be that guy, but no refunds.
Who wins?
Of
No
course.
refunds.
Running a dragon smuggling business, dragon selling business these days is hard enough with the taxes. We can't have people just sending them back to us and us losing every copper we make, you know?
Oh, I completely understand.
All right, well, here you are. And he reaches up to run a hand down the dragon's back before stepping away. And the large saurian lets the bit and brittle of the cart drop into the grass at your feet. And, well, let us know if there's anything else we can do.
Will do. And I will then take the cart and the stuff, plus my new dragon,
Your quote unquote dragon.
and head back towards the inn.
Gil, as you start making
I
your
hope he
way
remembers
toward...
that those things are technically illegal.
Speaking of... Gil, as you start...
Oh, no.
I feel like Gil didn't think this through as usual.
He didn't. He looked at me like, "Oh shit!"
What?
I'm just like, "I can't help you, buddy."
What happens to a bat?
Gil, as you start
actually,
approaching...
wait. We're not leaving yet, are we?
I mean,
Not
I had
right
a
this
thought.
moment.
We're not leaving town yet, are we?
No, but Lucian did say that she wanted to meet with everybody again, so.
Well, Gil's going to be leaving town.
So since I know we're not leaving town yet,
Are you
I
gonna
would
let him
then
walk
like to put
back?
my new dragon
what?
back in the stable for protection until it's time to go.
Mhm.
All right. You want to leave the cart and basket there as well?
You're gonna let him walk it back
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, well, I mean, because to be fair, he did get that out before the guard confronted him. So I will allow that because he technically did say he was going to do it before the consequence happened, and it's believable enough to where I'll let it slide.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
I like to think Gil was pulling the basket and cart back, the dragon following him, and then it just suddenly hit him when he saw the patrols. Like, oh wait, I'm about to bring a very illegal to own animal that's being taxed heavily to the point where people are being forced to give them up. All right. In that case, Gil, you drop off your
Yeah.
new acquisitions back at the stable. The stable hand's kind of smirking a bit at you as they can tell that you definitely forgot that these things are illegal.
Definitely.
But you bought your food earlier. Is
I'll
there any
shrug.
last?
I'll shrug.
Is there any last supply runs you want to make? Or are you good?
I'm good.
All right. So, if nobody else has any errands besides Lucian, Lucian, you and Raccoon wait at the sunken scale, and sure enough, most people's errands run by quick. Kero, Caleb, and Zephyr return with a few week or so's worth of food for each of them. The three return first. Neon returns not long after, having a few additional purchases to make. Their backpack a little fuller than it was before, but otherwise seeming content. And Gil is last to return, about an hour after initially setting out, and joins you all at the table. And again, as per last night, Lucian had informed all of you that that you have that Lucian has something they want to inform you of. So, Lucian, take it away.
Everybody's like,
So-
"Oh God, she's about to talk
Very
again."
good.
No, but this time is good, I promise. We haven't talked about this in a long while. But I wanted to bring it up since now that we have Neon with us.
Mhm.
I was thinking that we could call ourselves the
Oh.
Peacekeepers.
The names. Well,
And
Still don't see why
the
we need a
reason,
name.
the reason I
same.
well, listen, it is important for people to know, like everybody's all like, oh, what's this Gargon Guard, like it's very
What?
important. A lot of I've read a lot of like it's an adventure thing, I guess. Like when I was little, I read these like adventure books, and they were all like, oh, look at me,
Caleb is just going to completely space out.
I'm
at this
Harry
point.
Potter.
I'm Harry Potter.
Caleb is.
I was just
fish-eyed.
thinking that we could just call ourselves the Peacekeepers because, just like the Peacekeepers in Edict, we are trying to, do our best about, getting rid of the things that are bad. So, I don't know, I just thought it would be
Caleb,
appropriate, with Neon
do
with us
laws
now.
of impersonating a police officer exist in this world?
Given that you work for a bandit kingdom, I will say you don't even need to roll for that. Yes, you can get in a lot of trouble for impersonating a law official.
Caleb is going to be like, I'm
I-
pretty sure that's illegal.
And Neon, you were going to say something?
I understand the sentiment. I understand the sentiment, but could we please call ourselves literally anything else?
The quote
Well,
unquote
that's why I wanted
peacekeeper.
to call us that. I think that you need to, have some familiarity in that you are really far from home, and I thought that perhaps it would make you maybe feel better.
I'm
It
sure most
doesn't.
places
It'd be
have
like-
rules against impersonating those kinds of people.
That aside, it doesn't exactly make me
I
feel
think you
better.
misunderstood.
It'd be like if I suggested we call ourselves the
think that you
arsonists.
The arsonists.
I like that.
Of course you like that. We're not arsonists. If anything,
we're also not
plenty.
peacekeepers.
Did they say we're not
Well-
parsnips?
She said we're not arsonists.
Nobody else but us.
Kind of like,
No, I don't think that you guys are really understanding what I am trying to say. I'm not saying, oh, let's be peacekeepers like the peacekeepers down in Edict because that makes us
I
police
mean-
officers now. But I'm saying let's call ourselves the peacemakers or peacekeepers
peacemakers.
because we are
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to keep the peace. It's a play on words.
But the thing is,
I thought you guys were
Eve-
smarter than this. I don't.
you're just not listening. We're not peacekeepers, even in your sense of just we try to keep the peace. When did we ever become peacekeepers?
We
We're
are
really
we
not.
are participating in a war,
Yes.
a
And I
civil
feel like
war.
I've made my
We
my
are.
discomfort with the name clear.
Yeah. And
I
frankly, this whole name thing
understand,
is stupid.
and I will work on something else, I guess.
I say you
Well,
don't.
okay, so like, what do you want to like? When people like talk about this and sing songs about this, you
Sing
know, what are the
songs
birds
about
gonna
this.
say? Oh, you know, Zephyr was a big dick. I don't know.
All I heard
What?
Zephyr. All I heard was Zephyr and Big Dick.
Yeah, you're saying like what her making songs about us, and then saying, "Oh, if they make a song about Zephyr being a big dick," that was her strategy.
Like when they make the songs about us, and like because like obviously we're going to save the world, right? So like people
No.
need to know who we are. And like, what if we meet somebody who's like, "Oh, who are you guys?"
Again, who said we're saving the world?
We're literally going against a organization that is trying to take down our country.
That's saving a country, not the world.
Hmm.
Well,
More saving the
if
continent.
you live here, it's obviously your world. I don't know. Maybe it goes farther than y'all. We don't know.
That seems like a very unscientific view.
Either way, names are stupid.
I never said it was scientific, Caleb.
I have a suggestion.
Hmm.
Why not the writers? Since you deal with ink all the time.
The what?
The writers. Since you deal with ink, and it sounds nice and non-threatening.
I mean, I guess we.
I mean, out of character,
The
it does sound
writers,
good,
the
but
diplomats,
in
I
character,
don't
he doesn't
know.
care.
I'm pretty sure people would just come up with whatever names they wish to come up with if they're going to write a song about this.
Correct.
Fair enough.
Frankly, I don't think you should be, have them write songs about this. But,
I'm not
If they
saying
even-
have them write songs, but I'm saying eventually maybe they will write songs. It depends on,
why would
again, if we are
Why
successful.
songs specifically?
Can we please stop arguing?
I'm just. I didn't ask you here to argue. I asked you here because I want us to have something to call us by. Something that, we can introduce ourselves to somebody. Or, we could just be
use
like,
your name.
instead of like we are. Well, what I'm saying, instead of being individuals, we have a name because we are a team. We are co-workers.
we need that?
So instead of being like, oh, we individually introduce ourselves, but why can't we like simultaneously introduce ourselves?
I like how you're trying to say this to the two rogue bandit brothers. Teams, right?
Caleb is just going. Caleb has something to say.
Mm-hmm.
Look, let's be honest. We're going to try and stop the Scar Concord, and then whenever we do, we are all probably going to go back to our respective places in this continent, and possibly never see each other again. So, I feel like we're more an alliance than a team. We all agree that the Scar Concord must be stopped, and so we are working together, and we are hopefully going to succeed. But it's not like we're going to be constantly always together forever. I mean, obviously,
I'm not saying forever, but this is going to take some time, Caleb. Like, I am just now figuring everything out. Like, I'm trying to figure everything out, but I don't feel like I'm going to even be close to figuring out the truth until, who knows, months, maybe years? Who knows how long this is going to take, Caleb?
But we don't need a name. And I feel like a name just the fact that we are more worried about the fact that you are more worried about naming this group than anything else just shows We got to have the right priorities, and right now a name is not a high priority.
Hey,
Leon
but
just walks away at this point.
earlier,
Yeah.
I had you come into my room trying to tell you about the Icar beast, the homunculus, and like nobody was like either following me or interested in anything that I had to say. So
Yes.
why do I even try at this point?
Well, the problem is you ramble on about nonsense, like stuff like, as I mentioned, science, pointless. You could just say, "Oh, hey, this is a theory. If we kill her, we may die." Boom, done. You keep talking, adding more to stuff that doesn't. We don't care or know. Like something about a homunculi, whatever that is, whatever all this other crap is. Like, it doesn't matter.
Somebody wasn't paying attention.
You're not wrong, because it's just rambling and rambling of just stuff I don't care about.
Hold up, man.
It may be rambling to use that for, but this is very important for all of us. And I don't understand why you have to be such a dick about everything. I am trying to help us. And you're just, I understand that I talk a lot. I'm sorry. But sometimes it is necessary. I feel like I'm the only one who cares about knowing or even curious enough to even try to figure it out. While you guys, I don't know, tell me that I am crazy or tell me that I am, I talk too much. I understand that you think I talk too much. And I am sorry.
You're not wrong.
Can I just say that Caleb had already left?
It's turning just mean.
I don't fucking care.
Raccoon,
I'm just gonna take my dinner and go upstairs and read a book or something.
Right. Raccoon kind of awkwardly sidles off the chair, but hops back onto it as Lucian heads upstairs. Is there any final things you guys want to arrange? You can stay in town longer if you wish, obviously. The storm appears to have passed for now, making its way south of the island before dissipating. Is there any final arrangements you guys want to make? Any longer you want to stay in town, or are you good to make your way out?
Let's go. Let's adventure.
I think we're good.
All right. So you guys convened at about dinner time, took the time to eat, and begin making your arrangements, heading out of town. Night is beginning to fall, or rather, the sun is beginning to set. So you all see that the activity of the town is kind of in that little median area where the dark elves are starting to wake up, but the saurians and more diurnal species are still about. Gil, as you're all making your way out of town, you see the 3 dark elves on patrol who give you giggles and waves as they pass. Caleb, you see from the stables the dark elf boy closing up, who gives you a smile and a wave as you all start to approach the town's outskirts.
Well, Neil's going to go by the stables before they close.
Of course.
Stables like on the way to the exit.
Yeah, the stables are. I will say. Does anyone have a preference on which direction you will be taking to get to the mountains? Because technically,
I never saw the map, so.
yeah, we did. I actually have a copy of the map. Hang on.
Well, I mean that, like you were saying,
I have
Zephyr
the
never
map
saw it,
Yeah.
so Zephyr doesn't have a preference.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'll say between Caro and Caleb's just ability to navigate from a more logistical perspective and your keen mind. Real quick, Caro, your favorite terrains are swamps and mountains, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, as you're all heading
Up
out of
in me
town,
swamp.
while Gil is grabbing, Gil kind of swings you guys by the stables. The dark elf boy smiling to you, Caleb, and as Gil,
Caleb will smile and wave back.
um, as Gil's retrieving something from the stables, presumably the cart Lucian had
Well, he's gonna
requested.
mention the cart.
Yeah. So Gil heads in to grab you guys' card, and that
No.
gives you all time to work out the logistics of directions.
The logistics of getting a cart attached to Morgan.
All of you, sans Gil, putting your heads together. By your estimate, there are about 3 routes you can take to get to the end of Killer's River, where the where this Temple of Restraint is said to be. By the looks of the map, or rather by Lucian's recollection and Caro and Caleb's own judgment, and input from Neon, of course, where appropriate. If you take the southern route, basically retrace the route you guys have taken to get here, and then follow the Changing Tide River under Scalder's Lake, and then up to the Killer's River, you would likely reach the Temple of Restraint, as long as Caro takes the lead as per the norm, within... here, I have it written down here. About 8 days, if Caro's leading.
Wait, what?
Um,
Thought it was,
what?
Thought it was like a week to get there.
Well, yeah, I said a week, a little
What if-
over a week.
We just go completely west.
One more time.
What if we go completely west, like through the swamp, up the mountain?
Well, you don't know for sure if the mountains are crossable. They could be, but assuming that is correct, Caro seems confident about their mountaineering skills. You guesstimate that if you were to take the, although it's the eastern route you're thinking of, not the west. You guesstimate that taking that route through Zipper's Swamp and up the mountains would likely take you. It's hard to say, as again, you don't know how easy to cross the mountains are, even with Caro leading, but you estimate, assuming they are trekkable, probably about 4 days. But you would be heading through the swamps and up the mountains, which is a lot of unexplored territory that you're unfamiliar with. And again, you're not even sure if the mountains are capable of being crossed to begin with. Or if you can somehow secure passage across Scalder's Lake, the lake would take about 2 days to cross by boat, but that would shave off 3 to 5 days from the eastern or southern routes.
So if we go up the mountains.
So basically, swamp and mountain would be the fastest, but the most dangerous and the most possible of not even being able to get there to begin with, because the mountains may not be able to be trekked. The southern route would be the longest, but you know parts of the route already, and that's the route that everyone seems the most confident about taking, just in terms of getting there at all. Or you can try and cross the lake, which would basically just be shorter than both of the routes to begin with, but getting a boat and safely crossing the lake would be a big hassle.
Caleb's going to advocate to stick to the trails they know.
All right, so Caleb votes south. Zephyr, Caro?
It's not like they're going to have to walk it this time.
Just thinking. I know Zephyr could do the whole mountain thing, but then everyone's gonna complain they can't. I'm just like, ugh.
Zephyr thinks he could do it himself.
Well, yeah, I mean, he can, because, he has the. Unless the mountains have, like, weird terrain or, like, weird stuff on them, but. Just walk it up there with his boots. But, he'll just suggest, yeah, just going the route we know.
Caro? The Tavager boys vote taking the southern route. Do you have any preference?
No, like, however however the group wants to go.
Neon?
Rip.
Alright. Lucian?
Oh, I didn't realize I muted. I thought I was unmuting.
Alright.
You're hearing Matthew
Yeah,
through my
any preference on route?
microphone?
Oh, that was a while ago.
I'm like,
And,
Yeah, that was a while ago. It hasn't happened since then.
I was like, how?
No preference. Just whichever gets us there.
Alright, Lucian?
Yeah, probably south. Since we can't, secure a passage across the lake.
Okay. Alright. And Raccoon gives a nod, seeming content with that train of thought. And again, shockingly, the party seems more or less agreed on a plan.
Amazing how all the party can agree whenever they're not getting bogged down by, like, just completely, like, off-topic shit.
Welcome to D&D. So, as you all agree on a plan, Gil returns. Indeed, bearing a cart, a strange, massive basket that seems like it could seat 2 people comfortably, and trailing behind him is one of the darkly colored winged dragons. This one sans a crest and a little on the small side. It looks around at everyone a little on the nervous side, but still seems more or less content to follow. And Gil, your
I will
stuff
give
is
her
tough.
pets.
Make me an animal handling check.
Dirty 20.
You all watch as Gil exits the stable with a dragon in tow and happily pets down their head and neck. And with that, assuming there's no further business, Lucian, you see the guard, Amanda, who had accosted you on your way into town, giving a friendly wave as you all make your way away from the backwoods town of Hjarman. A plan is in place, and a new step in your journey begins.
Yeah, like, alright, whatever. The dragon.
Well, I haven't noticed anything, so.
Gil's going to hook up. Yeah, Gil wants to hook up the basket, and he's going to go fly.
He's gonna go fly. Alright, well,
Alright.
I guess,
Do you tend to fly ahead of the group, or just stick with them, but via air?
Stick with just up above.
Gil, could you slow down a little bit? You could give me some shade.
Gil, you hear Lucian call up to you from below as your dragon.
Isn't the sun going down?
Yeah, it's late afternoon now.
Shade from what?
From
You say
light.
that in character though.
Oh, okay. Shade from what? The sun is going down.
Where am I from, Caleb?
The sun is going down.
Yes, where am I from, Caleb?
Does Caleb know that?
Make me a history check.
So she probably mentioned it several times. And
No, she has, but I like to flavor it. So
It's gonna be an 11.
you're not sure. You're kind of
Oh,
used to.
boy.
You're kind of used to tuning out Lucian a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You think she's an elf, and you recall that Gil is from Gyogre. She might be Gyogren.
Caleb is just going to. Is just gonna
Yes!
like kind of look at her blank stare, like he legit doesn't know.
Come on, say it.
Elf
Tread
place?
carefully.
Tread carefully, what?
Caleb's like, oh, you're an elf, so the same place as Gil?
She kind of like pains a little, like in her face. No, I'm from Wicket.
And
Does Wicket interact with Tebedra a lot?
Not extensively. They're on the other side of the continent.
So does Caleb know about them?
I'll say, make me another history check.
That is going to be. Hang on, I gotta think. I had the same problem as Matthew. It'd take too long to pull up a calculator.
pull up a calculator.
That'll be a 13.
You've heard the name before. While you've never been there, and you never, other than Lucian, met people from there. You know of the place. It's a elvish commonwealth to the northeast of Yav.
Mhm.
Oh, that place.
Yeah. Do you know what the weather is like there, Caleb? It's cold. I'll tell you right now, it's cold. Like a lot. I am not used to this weather. So
Okay, but
even when there is no
Shade-
sun, it is really hot. You know what shade does, Caleb?
It blocks the sun, and there's no sun to block. So it's not going to affect how
It
hot you
also
feel.
cools things down, Caleb.
It cools things down because the sun can't heat it up. So if there's no sun, it's not going to make a difference. You're already shaded
There
by the
is
fact that
sun.
the sun
Neon
is going.
There is
Neon
sun.
and Caro, to your amazement, they're arguing about the weather now.
Neon
no.
Neon turns on the what's it called?
Intercom, like intercom.
Yeah, like the megaphone basically for Morrigan. So the voice is piped up really loud and starts talking to Carol like, "Boy, Carol, I was just thinking about how nice it would be to kill that doctor so we could finally be rid of all these people. What do you think? I feel like that's a good idea, considering they always like to argue with each other and never seem to shut up for 30 minutes. I think that'd be nice. Finally have some peace and quiet. What do you think, Caro?"
Carol's just sweating nervously.
Like, which side?
They do fight a
Point
lot.
out that it was Lucian who turned this into an argument.
Lucian started it!
Wait, does Caleb actually say that?
Caleb is going to be like, well, to be fair, Lucian was the one who made it an argument.
And you could have stopped at any moment, sir. Now you're dead.
You're the one who
Oh.
asked a stupid question.
Oh my god. I'm going to turn around and stare at both of them.
Deborah's just chilling, yeah. Like, hey, not me this time.
I would
All
like
right.
you all to keep arguing.
I just feel like one eye twitches.
All right.
Oh, wait.
Okay, so
Here, I would like to do something.
go
Oh
for it.
God.
So she's complaining about the heat, right?
Oh,
dear
no.
Christ! What are you going to
Yeah.
do?
Yes.
Can
Cast
I?
fireball.
No.
He's a rogue.
I don't want to push her out because I'd probably push her out if I said that word. I guess I would like to point my decare of endless water and say fountain, as it produces 5 gallons of
Oh, no.
water. Produces
Oh.
5 gallons of water on her.
I cannot believe you.
Neon,
once-
you watch as Zephyr just pulls free his what you now know to be a magical decanter, points it at Lucian, uncorks it, and fountain. And the next thing you know, like a Squirtle has used water gun, Lucian is now soaking wet.
And I will simply tell to her, "Is that cool enough for you?"
She'll take her hands and just wipe off the soap off of her face, turn her head to him, and just takes it in like a sharp intake of breath. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
All right.
I should shoot him.
I was
she's
impressed. Lucian taking the high
gonna
road. I'm
murder
impressed.
him, trust me.
For one, Lucian takes the high road.
There's murder in her eyes. Do not be deceived.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so Gil flying overhead via Pteranodon taxi. Neon, are you hooking up the cart to Morrigan as planned?
Yep.
Okay. Everyone else, what's the marching order going to be? Does anyone want to take the lead of the group, sit in the cart, ask Gil for a
Caleb
ride
is
in the
going to
taxi?
sit in the cart.
All right. Caleb,
He
you
is-
take a seat in the cart.
He is
Yeah,
but a
cart.
young, weak boy,
Fair.
so his legs probably still hurt from all the walking.
All right. Caro, I will say you'll likely need to be towards the front of the group and like on foot if you want to help them through the difficult terrain of the Humming Highlands and any difficult terrain in the future. But if you prefer to sit in the cart, you can.
That's fine. Carol likes to be out on the move.
All right. So with your many beasts in tow,
Them toddling after
you make your way towards the front. Neon pulling the cart, Gil up in their little taxi. Zephyr, Lucian, where are you guys going to be in the marching order?
I'll be in the cart.
Zephyr will, I guess, he'll relax in the cart for now. I mean, at least we're moving.
All right. After that small fiasco, things begin to calm down. Gil, your new acquisition, lifts you with a heavy beat of surprisingly powerful wings. Easily the wingspan dwarfs you from such a surprisingly small body.
Of stand flea.
Not quite, but you lift, or rather the Pteranodon lifts the basket into the air, and Gil, to your delight, you are now flying over the group. The beating of the wings makes for a somewhat uneven and bumpy ride, but it's nice to not have to walk and to quite literally look down on the others.
Yes.
He gets to do what Lucian does. Look down on everybody.
Look down on others.
Arrow, you take the lead, helping Neon navigate Morrigan in the cart safely through the rooty, bumpy, uneven terrain of the Highlands. And Lucian, Zephyr, Caleb, and Raccoon reacts quietly in the cart as the sun begins to set. So, I will say, as you guys have navigated this before, and you know that the Humming Highlands themselves are largely on the safe side, I'm assuming watch routine is going to be relatively similar. Although with that being said, do you guys want to basically this is going to be your opportunity to adjust travel. You can travel quickly, but that risks exhausting yourselves and alerting potential predators. You can take it slower, but minimize risk of something seeing you, or you can travel at a normal pace, which will basically be a little bit of both. And regarding watches, I'm assuming it's going to be Lucian and Gil as per the norm.
Yep.
Watches, yes.
Right.
But
And does anyone have a
Gil
preference
has
on?
had a wonderful idea.
Oh
Uh-oh.
no.
All right. Well,
Oh,
I'll say
God.
if you want to, is this something you're going to do to yourself, or like are you going to present it to the group?
I will present it to the group.
Okay. That being said, does anyone have any particular preference on travel speed? If not, then we'll take it from there.
Caleb would
Well,
probably say like
ideas,
just a normal pace.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say the same thing. Normal.
All right. Well, if there's no particular preference, unless Gil's plan convinces you all otherwise. It doesn't take long. Night begins to fall, and even though the Humming Highlands are not exactly abrim with predators, you still don't necessarily want to take chances. So you begin settling down for the night. And Gil, as your beast drops you off and finally relinquishes their grip on the basket to lay down somewhat exhausted, you approach the group as they're setting up camp. What would you like to say?
I had an idea on how we could get there faster.
Oh no.
Because our biggest issue is that we worry about things seeing us. Now that I have Ruby over here,
Ruby.
The dragon.
yes,
I'm guessing.
Ruby, I can keep an eye out on things up above and warn y'all if I see anything, and then we could slow down.
Sounds fair.
Wouldn't you have to be like far ahead of us? I
Well,
don't think that you should go ahead of Caleb.
He's saying he's gonna go at a high point of view and have like a high advantage.
I have the height advantage.
I see.
But are you implying that we book it there, and then when you say hey no, then we stop somehow?
Or we slow down.
I still say we go at a normal pace.
How would you get that message across to? Yes, I agree. How would you send across this message?
Does anyone have a mirror?
A mirror.
That's a good question. In my backpack.
Have a what?
A mirror.
A mirror. Raccoon might in her disguise kit.
I can look. Why?
Have soap.
Neon?
What?
Oh.
What do we need the mirror, officer?
Oh, okay. I thought I thought you were going to say something, but you like cut out or something.
I'm sorry. Like I said, little still getting used to the new setup.
No, not you. I thought Lucian. I thought Lucian was going to say something. Never mind. He could use it to flash a light at us.
That's pretty smart.
Well, I don't know, that would
That
still have
could
the same
work
problem.
because we're mostly going to be traveling during the day, it seems.
kind of hard to ignore when the sun's being shown in your eyes.
Have another strike.
What do y'all think?
I think it's a good idea.
It's worth a try. No.
Well, it
I
more or
think I
less.
agree that it's worth a try.
Could your dragon keep up with that?
Could tie a rope to it, pull it like a
Well,
kite.
they can fly 60 feet.
Well, true, but can it keep
Oh.
up with booking it at all day? That's not the point.
Tie a rope to it, and we'll put it behind us like a kite.
What?
Yeah. It's a lot of rope.
Well,
It's
if
almost
she
like
gets
I brought.
tired,
It's
we can
almost like I
slow
bought
down.
100 feet of it.
I just don't like the idea. I just don't like the idea of like putting a rope on that poor creature and using her like a fucking parade balloon.
If it gets
Well-
tired, then we could just let slow down while it rests.
Well, thing is, we could technically put the rope on Gil. It doesn't have to be on her.
There you go. Problem solved.
But it's still. Question is, can she go up? Can she go that long, that fast?
If we're pulling her on a rope, she won't
How-
have to.
When we say booking it, how fast would that be?
So
How
Matthew, how are we
does
going?
Morgan go?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Morgan.
Matthew, how are we
We
going to?
could just go normal speed, and Gil could just keep an eye out for when we need to slow down or otherwise avoid something.
And what was your question, Neil?
Mhm.
How are we going to calculate fast speed?
Well, if we're
Uh,
basing off the
I've-
slowest, that'd be Morgan, right?
But that being said, I have a basically rate for grand map travel like this. I basically have how long it would take to traverse through each area based on like how fast you're going and whether Caro is leading you and if Caro's ability to get you through it faster, as is the case in the Humming Highlands, kicks in. So basically, I'm keeping track of it on my end. Going at basically like booking it like full like sprinting like the devil snapping at your heels will effectively double your speed but increase the odds that you'll alert something to your presence because you're not exactly being subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention you risk just tiring yourselves out. While that likely won't be an issue for Morgan, it could be an issue for Caro, who's having to do all of this on foot. Ribbity Ranger or not, I'd be impressed to meet the explorer who can maintain a dead sprint for several days without rest.
I was just under the impression that Caro was sitting on top of Morgan and basically, all right, now that way. Okay, now that way.
Well, Caro said they would be on foot, but Caro, do you want to the next day try that instead?
Sure.
So
Bumpy ride.
that being said, so yeah,
How-
basically it's just
How
like
fast does Morgan go?
30 feet. Dashing is 60 feet.
Okay, so his dash would be my regular movement since I can fly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be fine.
all right. In that case, are you guys settled on maintaining a high speed, but have Gil alert to everyone to potential dangers?
Yeah.
Okay. Lucy and Gil, make me your perception checks for your night watches, and as per the norm from last time,
Caleb is going to, whenever he sleeps, he's going to curl up on the cart with his sleeping stuff.
Cute. All right. All right. As Lucian, you prepare to take watch as the group has. Well, you've already had dinner, so you don't need to drain your supplies just yet. So you're all good on supplies. Don't worry. So Lucian and Gil, both of you make me perception checks. And what did you roll?
A natural 20, so that's a 27.
Okay. Gil.
And I got a 23.
All right. You all begin to bunk down for the night, the elves maintaining their usual nightly vigil to keep the group safe. Lucian and Gil both. Your watches pass without major incident. And Gil, you make sure that Ruby gets some good rest because you're going to push her pretty hard these coming days.
And I gave her a day's worth of rations and fish.
Well, the group is like basically since everyone in the party has already had dinner and water, and you guys left pretty late. She's already been fed and watered today, but yeah, starting tomorrow, you will have to start dipping into that.
Fish ration.
I want to give her a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little treat.
Right.
Snack.
Let's say make me an
So
animal
you said
handling check
fish?
for funsies.
Yeah. He eats
Yeah,
fish.
it's a Pteranodon. It eats fish.
Should animal handling check.
Yep.
30-20.
Right. Gently nudging the animal awake, they kind of stir, seeming a little on the grouchy side, but otherwise non-aggressive. And
I would have given it to her before she went to sleep.
just
Okay,
try to.
question, DM.
What's up?
Oh, Jeremy, where are you still storing said fish?
Come with the smell.
In my backpack.
All of it?
What else are you gonna carry it in
Well,
his hands?
Yeah.
Well, I was assuming it was going to be in the cart.
That's gonna
Well,
stink.
he's not going to have the backpack with him because he doesn't need it.
Yeah, it's just in his
It's gonna be
backpack,
at the
which
cart.
is in the cart.
Okay.
I already know what's going
Question,
on. Be
DM.
honest.
Does
Yeah.
no, you don't actually. Does the smell of fish trigger that memory?
Memory.
To the memory.
You
of
know
her
which
path.
memory I'm talking about.
Maybe a
Shouldn't-
wisdom saving throw.
I don't. I actually don't.
Yeah, you're right. You don't.
Well, this is-
You have no idea.
I was like,
This is a me and DM thing.
yeah, that's one of her background things.
Okay, hang on. Let me bring up my
Her traumas.
my sticky stuff.
Also,
Oh,
go on.
1
9.
Indeed, it does.
9
Lucy.
9 9 9.
As Gil rifles through their backpack before you take up your vigil, you see them pull a small, somewhat dried to minimize rot fish and start taking it towards their dragon that they purchased for some reason. And smelling, it's a lower smell than you'd expect, but the odor itself is unmistakable. And it does start to bring back some memories for you.
Ow.
And I'll say, Gil, again, that's fine. Just although for the future, be sure to say that before you, because if you don't
Well,
like specify
yes.
when and what you're planning to do, I have to draw my own conclusion. So just try to be clear on that in the future. But easy enough to do. You feed the dragon slightly, which they are grateful for. They seem a little not on edge per se, but just a little, understandably cautious. And they're obviously a little tuckered out and seem eager to bunk down for the night. But they accept your snack gratefully. With that, anyone?
And I will lay down with my dragon.
All right. They kind of adjust beneath you, squawking slightly, but beyond that, do not force you off. Um,
Don't
does
lay
anyone?
on.
Uh, beyond that, does anyone have anything they'd like to do for this long rest?
Nope.
Okay. Neon and Caro, the two of you make your arrangements to have Caro astride Morgan and directing Neon that way rather than being at the head of the group to minimize exhaustion if you intend to pick up the pace to the temple. And I'll say, Zephyr, if I may be so bold, you are likely very happy in your own way when the group actually seems relatively in agreement to pick up their traveling pace.
Yes and no, yeah. He's
With
happy.
that,
We're happy we're moving mostly. That's the thing. That's mainly just that we're moving.
fair, fair. Okay. With that, Gil, make me another perception check. This will be for your attempts to play scout from the air, while the party increases their speed.
Waiting for a Gil to get a natural one. Like, yes, I see everything.
Also,
And then
because
Four.
What?
I was gonna say because Caleb was on the cart,
24.
And because Caleb was on the cart,
he just continues. He he had his reason for getting on the cart is he knows he likes to sleep late, so
that's
he
fair.
can just continue sleeping on the cart as they're going in the early morning.
All right. In that case, uh, another day passes. Again, the watches are thankfully devoid of any incident. The Humming Highlands seem like a relatively safe area, although you do know that the carnivorous dragons skulk the outer rim. And with the group's decision made on picking up their speed, when the next morning comes, it begins. Caro, you stride up to mount, essentially be mounted atop Morgan, directing Neon on where to go to increase their speed at the most efficient. Caleb, you sleep in the cart, albeit not super soundly, as all of you sitting in the cart as Gil, you, and Ruby take to the air to scout for the party. Morgan breaks out into as much of a sprint as they can without risking smashing themselves into a tree root and like upending the whole cart. The cart is rendered bumpy and shaking by the constant motion, rather than the periodic and relatively smooth jolts. Well, smooth by jolt standards. It's more a constant bumping, alternating between ambient and harsh. Um, but it does indeed increase your speed significantly. And between the afternoon's head start and Caro's lead and your increased movement speed, uh, you are able to clear the Humming Highlands in a single day. Uh, um, Neon pressing Morgan as hard as she'll go. Caro keeping your sticky grip tight as you direct Neon back onto the path whenever they wander off of it. Um, uh, uh, and by the time night falls, and you guys are setting up camp again, you have reached the edge of the Humming Highlands and are about to re-enter Death Nest Valley. Gil, from your scouting perspective, you don't see too much going on. You do see that Morgan and the cart's rapid pace does startle a large flock of those two-legged dragons that you and Caro had hunted. Um, uh, but beyond that, you do not do not see anything amiss. Speaking of, by the way, Kero, I believe you guys went through the rations of the hunted Gallimimus during the trip. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
basically I wanted to make sure any hunted food, any rot was being taken into account. So, but yeah, so you're good. You've been eating all of the stuff that would rot quickest. So, and then the traveling rations are meant to last a while. So, all right, you're fine then. And I figure it's only fair to ask. Do you guys want to maintain this strategy while making your way through through Death Nest Valley?
Isn't that one place like a
Sounds
bit
good to me.
more troublesome?
Yeah, that was that dense jungle where the carnivorous dragons have their nests, and you know that it is mating season.
Caleb would suggest that because
Ooh,
it is a bit more.
maybe we should slow down.
Yeah, go at a normal pace for this place with Gilm still keeping an eye out.
Okay. Another day of travel, and as you wake up, you guys take a much more slow and cautious approach. Uh, not slow. Well, again, more your usual pace, yes, but comparatively slow and cautious. Um, as you begin, I assume taking the same route you had before. You begin to round the jungle, aiming to go beneath that cliff. Uh, um, you guys would recall that basically night would be falling if you maintain this pace by the time you reach the other side of the jungle. Retracing your steps, you could probably find that cave mouth and sleep there, or continue at your pace and get to the other side by nightfall and set up camp there, whatever your preference.
Is the
The
cave
caves
like on the way?
seem safe enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since I'm assuming you guys are retracing your steps, so basically just going backwards through the route you
Yeah,
took to get here.
Caleb would suggest that idea.
All right. And it takes a little bit of finagling for all of you to again get yourselves up into the cave mouth.
Caleb has to leave the cart.
Speaking of, Neon, do you wish to join the group in the cave this time, or are you going to stay down here as you did before?
I'm gonna stay down there.
Okay. Caro, do you wish to stay with them again, or join the group up in the cave?
I'll stay with Neon again.
Okay. Uh,
Small animal gang, except for Zephyr, because he'd stay with the group.
Oh yeah. It's not like it's just it's a casual walk, you know. That's all it is. So.
it's a trek through dinosaur-infested jungle, but
I'm talking about getting to the cave.
oh, fair. All right. Neon, you and Caro keep watch, and now that you're back in the jungle, you can immediately see those small, irritating little dragons kind of curiously investigating Morrigan's feet. Occasionally, you guys having to wake up and kind of get them to scat off back into the jungle. Um, uh, since Neon and Caro are sleeping outside of the cave, why don't the two of you make me perception checks? I'll say, Caro, since a mountain is like right there and the group is sleeping in a cave, I'll go ahead and let you have advantage on this.
15, baby.
Caro?
Kara slipped off of Morgan and hit her head. She's dead now.
21.
Okay. The two of you are able to keep a relatively sound and easy watch over the surrounding jungle. Thankfully, as last time, nothing accosts you aside from
Buggers.
yeah, aside from the little dudes. And as the sun rises on another day, travel continues. Um, uh, maintaining your even pace until you leave Death Nest Valley. You all going carefully. Gil, you watch the jungle canopy. It's a little nerve-wracking as you're not actually able to see the group's cart, simply trying to maintain staying above them through glimpses you get through the jungle canopy, and just vaguely sticking to the direction you remember taking last time, but backwards. While you do see movement in the trees, and some of it not too far from the group, nothing appears to be immediately concerned with them at the moment. And in fact, you notice that there's actually not a lot of activity. While there is still many, many carnivorous dragons in the clearing, activity seems to have somewhat slowed. Although why that is, you can't imagine. You all make it to the edge of the jungle about mid-afternoon by the time you make it. And you find yourselves looking at that long field of wheat that you had encountered on the way here. What you now know to be farmland cultivated by the Saurians, and they simply let it grow naturally and then come harvest it when the time is right. Although, as you all exit the tree line, Gil, you're the first to see it, although the rest of you can see it as well. Within the field of wheatgrass, you see a lot of the dragons you had encountered in the desert, the plate dragons and the ones with long horns sticking out from their faces, all just grazing on the field, ripping stalks clean out of the ground and just crunchity munchitying like they have nothing better to be doing. The tails of the plate dragons wave in the air, whether as a threat display or one of enthusiasm at seeming to have finally found a good source of food after trekking through the desert for so many days. Either way, they seem delighted, and you see young and old dragons alike frolicking and just grazing their way through this poor farmer's cultivation.
And good thing
Not
we
a
didn't
threat.
burn it.
Yeah.
Not that you can tell.
Okay.
Since it's still mid-afternoon, you guys feel like you can still get a little bit of travel out of the way.
Keep going.
So you guys continue, now tracing the outskirts of the jungle line. You're starting to make your way to unfamiliar territory now. As you start making your way around the farmer's field, over the changing tide river, and start making your way towards the distant Stalker Forest. Gil, you first notice it after the group starts circling the tree line to cross the changing tide river. Crossing over one of those artificial irrigation ditches that flows from and into the river. You initially think it might be either a young dragon following the group, or perhaps just some like unusual creature that likely means no harm. But you notice something in the wheat field is following the group, and they don't appear to have noticed it yet. And as a brisk tropical wind blows over the field of wheat, and several of the dragons kind of shift a bit as the stalks brush and wave, you see that the figure following the group appears to be a dark elf.
So Gil's going to take the mirror and flash it at the group.
Right. And I will say, since you were in the military, you know how signals work, and the group had already pre-discussed this. Caleb, as you're relaxing in the cart, you're kind of squint a bit as you feel something flash across your eyes, and look up to see Gil is flashing the mirror down at the group from above.
I put on the
Caleb,
brakes.
Caleb is going to say, Gil, Gil seems to have spotted something.
Yeah, I put on the brakes.
All right. Neon, you come to a stop, and Gil, you see the dark elf stops too and crouches down into the wheat, actually disappearing from your sight completely, although you still know they're there. You saw them, you know you did.
I bet they do that.
Gil wants to come down and like be hovering above the ground. It'd be like, come out.
I'm gay. I mean.
Oh my god.
God damn it.
Yeah. I mean, never specified
Beautiful.
how.
It took me a solid 5 seconds to understand.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
Gil,
Alright.
so out of curiosity, Gil, are you hovering above the wheat field or above the group? Just so I know where you are relative to.
Above the group.
Gil, as you have Ruby start hovering you above the group, and you all watch in the direction Gil's looking expectantly. I imagine some of you ready weapons or prepare spells.
The arrow whisper.
Also, as a brief side note, just it occurred to me I should probably mention this. Do note that you guys are 2 days of travel in, so deduct 2 days of rations, and along with any appropriate extras for any mounts or pets. And you have 1 day of water left in your water skin, but you are right by the river, so just noting it so that you guys know where you're at inventory wise. So yeah, 1 day of water left in the skins, and
You said we'd be basically following the river.
yeah. No, yeah, like Aurora pointed out that, yeah, you literally just follow the river from where you're at now, and that should take you right to it. Which is why you guys chose this route, because you know exactly where to go, rather than leaving it to chance. So yeah, just 2 days of rations per mouth to feed, and 2 days from your water skin. Anyway, with that, I just wanted to get that out of the way before I forgot. Gil, as you give this threatening call, there's silence. You all stare at the brushing field of wheat, not sure necessarily what to expect. A minute passes. 2 minutes. Another wind blows over the field, and you all have a split second to take in the face of a dark elf with beady red eyes before they leap out of the wheat field, waving a curved metallic blade. And about 20 feet from all of you, just basically jumping and rolling out of the wheat field as if they were pouncing on an animal, rise up from their stance. And they wave their sword at all of you threateningly.
Well, you wish us to die.
Do they
Caleb is going
do
to
they
fire
say
the
anything?
No, they
Yeah.
literally just make a garbled, like, wild scream.
Yeah, no, they say. Which obvious.
Holy
Which
fucking shit.
it
It's
means,
obviously a war cry of some sort.
Yeah, it means
How far is he?
we're friendly.
20 feet away from the cart.
It's fucking boss Nass.
Sacred Flame.
Boss Nass.
Sacred flame.
I'm gonna Sacred Flame his ass. And then
Caleb
let's go.
is
Oh
going-
shit.
Sacred flame, right?
remembering where I am.
Yeah, like sacred flame, you know.
I'm not taking it back. I'm not taking it back.
Then
I'm still
force
doing it. And then I will
I
follow
I'm
with,
gonna say
oh
that
shit.
Caleb was gonna take a shot with the laser rifle. You know, a laser, heat.
Well, yeah, all the stuff that's
So the guy, the attacking guy needs to make a dexterity save.
Right, and Caleb make an attack roll.
flames come from above. Or,
You'll
like,
It's gonna be a dirty
Talk
20.
for that.
technically, it's not flames, so you're good there. I mean, it's just a laser.
Let me get a calculator.
But it is.
They succeed the save, Lucian.
They still get damage, I think.
No, if it's a
It's a
cantrip,
cantrip. I don't think they do.
yeah, cantrips don't get anything.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Alright, Caleb rolled a dirty 20.
That is a hit. Roll for damage.
Alright, here we go. First roll. Lucky this guy. Second roll.
Second roll.
The laser rifle does 3d8.
Nice.
And then plus and 3. So that's gonna be 13 damage.
Okay. All right. And that's radiant. Yes.
Yes, radiant damage.
Okay. Lucian, you loose your spell, slinging it from your hands and panicking, and Caleb firing your laser rifle and also panicking as both of you realize you've done very heat adjacent things at a target standing in front of a wheat field. And the Dark Elf actually seems to realize this themselves as Caleb, they suddenly cease their babbling and vague waving of their curved blade, and reacting quickly. You can see their eyes actually track the shot as you fire it, and they dive and almost seem to allow it to hit them, almost like hoping it'll slow it down. And thankfully, you hit at the root edge of the wheat field, and the laser does not go clean through the wheat. As in the cart, you're at an elevated angle. And the target was
hit?
you hit him, just you didn't hit the wheat behind him.
Pretty much it pierced straight through him.
Yeah, it went through him, but whether it was because of that or because of your angle, it didn't hit the wheat field. And Lucian, as you fire your sacred flame, he actually flings the curved blade, and it almost seems to catch the light of the sacred flame and dissipate it before it sticks out of the dirt a distance away from him. And the Dark Elf stands to their feet and starts to just approach you all, not even running like he's in combat, more just approaching like a parent about to scold children. Whoa, 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 whoa. What do you all think you're doing?
What do you think you're doing?
What do you think you're doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? We're defending ourselves.
Yeah, you even attacked us.
I'm running out of the wheat field waving a sword around.
We're just trying to say hello.
I knew it.
You need to work on your people skills.
Oh, I know. It's been real lonely out here. I was just out on my hunt, and don't exactly get a lot of travelers through these parts. So pop up and say hello. I just haven't exactly spoken the common tongue in a while.
Yeah,
I love this guy.
the common tongue. You don't know that too? Oh.
Oh god.
Hit,
Like an alien came and
How
fucked with
long
this
exactly
guy.
have you been out here?
Lucian, as you ask this, he kind of stops and scratches at the side of his face, contemplating, and this gives you all a chance to take in his appearance. You find yourself looking at a dark elf male who is riddled with scars. Um, they have a massive 2 slashes across their face, one of which goes directly across their nose, which they appear to be missing a solid chunk of. Their nose almost more of a crater than an actual nose. Their dark ginger orangish red hair is deeply unkempt and long. Their fingernails just as long and filthy. They're wearing a headband. And their teeth are long and sharp, their eyes dark, red, and beady, with dark midnight blue-black skin. Um, uh, as and Lucian, as you ask this question, he contemplates for a while and kind of stares at you and I don't know. The last thing I can remember is pineapples.
That is very
I know what you're doing, Matt.
What do you mean, pineapple?
Well, like the fruit. They grow up in trees, I think. Do they grow in trees?
Yes, I know what the pineapple is. I know what the pineapple is. I'm not an idiot.
Oh wait, now
What
I
I'm
understand.
questioning is why is that your last idiot? Like, why is that your last memory?
Well, I should certainly hope I remember my honeymoon.
Well, that's embarrassing.
And Caleb rolled to try and understand what is going on.
Crazy, the crazy thing was
Yeah, make an
The
insight
what?
check.
Insight.
the
Yeah,
crazy.
can I make anything of this? Can I would like to
Matthew,
see if
what's
I
up?
can make anything of this.
natural 20.
Okay, I'll give you.
Woo!
And Lucian, you said you want to roll as well?
Yes.
I mean, I'm just gonna.
You said insight?
Yeah, if you're just trying to understand what the fuck his deal is.
And me too.
19.
All right, 19 for you, Gil.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back
And
and
a natural 20 for me as well.
sit back down.
Dirty or natural?
Natural.
Okay. All three of you immediately come to the same conclusion. He's nuts. However long he's been out here, it's definitely taken a toll on him, given his hair and fingernails, and the fact that it's almost like his body's been adapted to being out in the wild, and that face scar likely didn't exactly get made in a city. You do not have a fucking clue. However, Caleb and Gil, the two of you do notice something. It's vague. You initially think you might be imagining it. Their hair is a different color, their skin a different tone, but their physique, the way they carry themselves, and you both also notice he's not dressed in the rags you would expect someone living like this to be dressed in. He's actually dressed in what has to be royal fineries, tattered and ripped, but royal fineries nonetheless, silks and velvets, almost the kind of thing you would expect a priest to wear. And you both come to the conclusion at the same time, actually kind of glancing at each other as everyone's kind of looking at this man confused. While you're not sure exactly what the relation is, and again, he does look physically different, you feel like he has to be connected to Argos in some way. He's dressed in the royal fineries. His physique is pretty similar to the president, albeit much older. And you know that Argos is albino, which likely also makes their appearances more distinctive. But you almost imagine that if Argos were a little older, not albino and male, she would probably look a lot like him if he was cleaner. And given the royal fineries, that does seem to stand to reason. If he's not connected to Argos in some way, the resemblance is uncanny, but he definitely appears to be likely a clergyman of some kind, although you can't tell exactly what. And he's still just looking almost over all of you guys' heads, like not even like really looking at all of you anymore, kind of scanning the tree line with a squint. And I will say you all recall that dark elves have a bit of a harder time seeing in the daylight, which does not appear to be doing him any favors.
Question: do I see any symbol? Like, is he wearing a symbol?
Well, I'll say since Gil and Caleb spotted the religious affiliation first, do the two of you want to look first? I think it's only fair. You both rolled nat 20s, so.
I don't think Caleb would look for something like that.
All right.
Neither would Gil.
All right. In that case, Lucian, make me an investigation check. Are you gonna approach him?
Yeah, I'll approach.
Okay. Make me an investigation check, just flat roll, and I'll say you all see Lucian get out of the cart and start to approach him curiously, and he excitedly steps forward and crouches down onto all fours, looking at you with a wide smile. Lucian, just, all right, you want me first or you?
What?
Wow,
Sure,
man.
what you are meaning by this, I'm just, you said that you wanted to say hello, so I am here to say hello.
Yeah.
I rolled dirty 20.
Looking over their person, you do not see any jewelry. However, the back of their robe is badly torn and shredded, and you can actually see a good chunk of their back exposed to the sun through it. And tattooed across their back is the symbol of a spider.
Gotcha. Let me
This
finish
is
my
better.
notes here, and then I will respond. I will kind of point to his tattoo. Are you a priest?
Oh, used to be. No, nobody exactly believes any of that, but yeah. And he kind of grabs your arm and holds it up over his head and starts sniffing it curiously before elbowing past you to approach the cart and hopping up onto the side of it to look over all of you in the cart. You're all real interesting. What brings you all the way out here?
Oh, shoot.
You are actually super interesting. Why talk about us when we could talk about you? You are much more interesting than we are.
Okay. I just don't want to slow you guys down if you're trying to get where you're going.
I agree.
Not at all. You said that you were a priest? What happened?
Well, yeah, you know how it is. You know, you find out your cousin's smuggling dinosaurs, and then you're like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that. You know, it's sacred to these people. You know, we shouldn't be enforcing that sort of thing. And then your cousin's like, all right, well, I don't want nothing to do with you anymore. Next thing you know, you can't go into any of the cities no more. And one of the beasts you set free has been hunting you, and you haven't slept in days.
Oh.
What
So
a
your
funky
cousin is a
guy.
smuggler. Yeah.
What?
And what, you tried to turn them in?
Wait, no. Say that first part again.
Your cousin is a smuggler.
Oh, no. Sorry, you got me all wrong. My cousin's the president. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Wow, that was quite the wham line.
Well
Jesus.
then. Just spits out drink.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, fucking, like, I legit.
Is that video basically the sound he made whenever he was attacking us?
I can't see it. What is it?
Lost nos noise. I don't know.
No, I
I
don't get the reference, so no.
I don't know what that is. So
Jacob did.
Oh, he's from Star Wars. He basically a common noise that he makes is he shakes his head back and forth really quickly and goes.
Yeah, that sort of vibe, but louder and more aggressive.
Yeah. Boston ass.
Oh my goodness.
a bargaining chip.
I knew exactly what you were going at with that, Matthew.
Oh, of
I did
course.
too, but I was like, you know what?
I don't
Let's
get it.
help him.
I don't understand what he's going for.
Um,
Crazy?
The crazy Barrett from Ice Age
Bruce. I think that's his name.
Oh,
that married a pineapple
Buck.
Fuck yeah, but
and is being haunted by T-Rex.
he's
Oh, you
hunted
fucking
by
know. We're gonna have to
baryonyx.
watch that movie now.
yeah.
Rudy.
Rudy. Oh man. Yeah, interesting fun fact, by the way. I was actually rolling to see if he would fly under Gil's radar and get to approach the group quietly. Not even joking, rolled a nat 1 for stealth, which is a very fitting introduction to this character.
Beautiful.
I love it.
I know,
Who
right?
he is.
Yeah, so the party has begun their journey to the Temple of Restraint, making their way back through the Humming Highlands, through Death Nest Valley, and finally starting to snake their way around Scalder's Lake, heading to the Stalker Forest, following the river, which should supposedly lead them directly to the temple. But along the way, they have been unexpectedly accosted by a male dark elf priest who appears to have lost more than a few of their marbles,
He's
but
psyched out.
claims to be the cousin of President Ergos, exiled from all of their lands for attempting to set free a creature they were smuggling.
He's psyched out.
I should shoot him, maybe.
If you want to see more of my DMing for things like this, check out twitch.tv/GrahamCrackers, GrameCrackers. For my Friday campaign, The Goldshine Investigations at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Check out our website at officiald5hub.info, down at the moment, but will be put back up as soon as we can. Check the link that should be posted in chat shortly to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly, and support our episodes posted on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, or wherever you happen to get them from. For our audio listeners, catch us live on Tuesdays at 9:30 Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/Odd Tornado Productions. And check out Odd Tornado Productions Official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including our Cobalt Rogues Twitch channel at twitch.tv/AustinFreak123. Thanks everyone at home so much for watching. Thanks all of you so much for playing, and we'll see you all next week.
He's psyched out.
Drop
Yeah.
the ball.